Hey guys, it's Grimlox Brain, and today I put together a video to help you improve your raid scores. And if you're anything like me, when you first started playing this game, you would probably get really frustrated when you did the raids just because you would send your strongest lineup in and they'd probably only last you about 10 seconds and they'd probably hardly do any damage. And so what I've come to realize is that it's not really the strength of the team that matters, but really the different components that you put in. So hopefully by watching this video, you'll find some tips that can help you improve and help you also have fun during your raids at the same time. All right, so first let's talk about your team composition. What I've done is I've listed what I consider to be the most important components of a team. And then after we run through this, I'll show you a few demos so you know how to put this theory into practice. Among the ones I listed here, the two most important are the damage reducers and the hackers. So the damage reducer, the best in the game is Trax, and he's widely considered to be the best bot in the game, or one of the top 2 bots in the game, and it's because his special ability gives him the ability to block 50% or more damage being done to anyone under his cloud, which is really an amazing ability. And so if you have him on your team, even if he's level 2, go ahead and use him. His ability is just that important for these types of maps. You're not going to really use him to deal a lot of damage, but whatever you get from him is a bonus, obviously. If you don't have Trax, you might want to try someone like Red Alert, who can do a little bit of damage reduction as well, and he also gives you some immunity against shocks, like the shock towers. And then the other component, which I think is the key to scoring high when you have a lower level lineup, is the hackers. So if you can get Perceptor near one of those shock towers, he can really do a lot of damage. Blades as well. Blades can also hack the shock towers. And I'm going to show you both of these in the next few videos. Alright, so let's start by looking at one of my lower level lineups. We're going to start with my con lineup with a squad power of 3200. And really, it's only worth taking a look at Bombshell with a level 3 and Cutthroat with a level 1. So as you can see, they're fairly low level. So I started by launching my Combiner, 3-star Overlord. He's probably not going to do that much damage, but I happen to have him activated, so I went ahead and deployed him. What you're going to see later on is that all the damage is really coming from Bombshell, who's going to hack that shock tower that you can see right there. So now that Overlord's gone down, I'm going to deploy the team. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the minions out from Soundwave. I'm going to launch the Blots illusion. And then we're going to put down the cloud, the defense cloud from Cutthroat. And then we're going to start hacking away. So the objective really, and something I may have made a few mistakes in here, is that you're trying to get as many hacks on that shock tower as you can. And depending on what level your ability is at, you should be able to get 2 sometimes. And then you just have to keep track of how many shocks you've gotten from the shock tower. So every time I see that the cloud's down, I put it back. And then I just try to make a conscious effort to keep hacking that shock tower. And so as you can see, even though some of these guys are at the lower level, that shock tower is really eating up into those defenses. And the goal of the other bots at this point is really just to keep Bombshell and Cutthroat protected from some of those defenses. As you can see right there, the defense is cut through. Bombshell's dead, and I still had 17 ability points. Should have been able to get one more shock off, but unfortunately I just had to use Cybertronian's Starscream to do the rest of the damage. So as you can see, I was able to get over 5,000 points from this raid, which I think is really good given that this squad doesn't have that much power. Alright, so I'm going to show you one more video from my main lineup here. You can see I put in the components that I talked about earlier. I have pipes and blaster, and blades and perceptor and tracks. And then I have Jetfire Sky Striker, who's there to do some damage, first aid to do the healing, and I have Gnaw. Gnaw has Quintus Core on him, and who's going to be really helpful for generating some minions every time I destroy a wall or I destroy a structure. So I'm doing the Triptychon City easy in this. And the first thing I like to do is I like to deploy my bots a little bit further away. So I use all the runway I can. And the reason why I do that is it gives me some time to get the abilities launched. So I deploy them as far back as I can. And then I launch pipes and I activate his ability, which absorbs all the damage from the laser beams now. And then you deploy blaster, you deploy the medibots, and then you put the smoke cloud down on top to really keep them protected. I position some of the Sharkticons in between as well to make sure that none of the damage hits my damage dealers. And then from then on, I start hacking with Perceptor, that big shock tower in the middle. And it does two things, right? It does damage, but at the same time, it also does an EMP on all those defenses. So now they stop attacking me as well. So I only have to worry about the defenses that are out of range of that shock tower. Another thing I like to point out is that I try to slow down the game. I'm always pressing on the ability so I can kind of see what's going on. Sometimes if you let the game go and it runs really fast, your bots can just get wiped out before you have a chance to react. So that's another trick that might come in handy for you, is if you try to slow down the game by just clicking on an ability and watching what's happening, and then you can see whether or not you need to refresh the hack ability, or you need to put a new smoke cloud down. Or, I sometimes use it to keep track of blasters, minions, just to see whether or not they're still alive and if they've been or not. As you can see right there, I destroyed the walls, which generated a pretty decent amount of Sharkticons, which really came in helpful for blocking out some more of that damage. I'm just going to continue to hack. Once I run out of, once Perceptor's ability to hack becomes too expensive, I switch over to Blade's ability. But for as long as you can, I really do prefer using Perceptor's ability, just because it increases the attack speed, and the more attacks you get off, the more damage you can do. So I was able to keep my squad on the field for about 2 minutes and 10 seconds or so. And so the longer you can keep your squad on the field, the more damage they can do. In this instance, we were able to do almost 13,000, which I think is pretty decent and will really go a long way in helping your alliance achieve its goals. Lastly, I wanted to cover a couple of variations to this strategy that you can apply, especially if you're on the higher level and you have more bots at your disposal, or your bots just have more health, or you have stronger healers that will keep your bots alive longer. Depending on the map you are attacking, if there's not a lot of shock towers, you can swap out some of those hackers for a stunner like Bumblebee, who will help keep all those defenses in a shock state, wherein they can't attack you. There are some special bots who just do a ton of damage, and if you have them on your team, you want to deploy them and keep spamming their abilities. You have bots like Sentius and Cheetor, who, given the right type of map, they can really do a lot of damage and will be really good for your team. Lastly, if you have anything that can increase damage, you may wanna try and use them as well. Prima Core is a great one if you have it on one of your gunners. And if not, you can also try to use Cliff Jumper or Sideswipe to put some glass on those defenses, which would increase the damage that they receive. So that's it. Please feel free to leave a comment, like, or subscribe if you enjoyed the content, and I will see you at the next video.